I don't see a picture yet, but how you guys doing? It's weird. Sometimes when I push start, it just goes live right away, and other times I have to say go live. But anyhow, sorry about the incorrect time. I meant to say 9:30 a.m., not p.m. I don't know why I keep doing that. Just getting old, I guess. But welcome to my shopping live stream where we go online together and look for deals. Uh, and this week is a good week for filters, actually. And I'm a big proponent of filters, NDs, circular polarizers, and special effect filters. And there's a couple of bags on sale that are really good as well, and also a few other things. So we'll get into that, but I'll give everybody just a moment to kind of get in. I just actually I should turn the heat on a little bit higher here. Oh, there we go. It's cold, so cold. I'm trying to conserve. I'm trying to conserve my fuel oil because they're not going to be able to get here till like the end of next week. They're just so backlogged, and I really only have about 4 or 5 days worth if I were to keep my house at 60. So I have to keep my house at 50 degrees, and hopefully that'll make it through next week. But anyhow, good. The audio video is good. I see Jeff is here, Dan is here, Paul, John follows. Good to see you guys. So let's just get into the shopping, and I think, yeah, here we go. This button. Okay, so and disclosure, I'm an affiliate for Amazon and B&H, eBay, all those guys. And if you guys use my affiliate links down below, I will earn a commission, which helps support the work that I do here in helping find good deals, my photo editing, and my weekly live streams. And also remember, this coming Sunday, I'm going to have my 8th annual Micro Four Thirds meetup. So I hope to see you all there for that. I have a lot of great guests, some familiar faces, and then the following Sunday on February 15th, I will have the second part with some new faces. Some you'll know them. And it'll be good to see them again. Okay, so I'll have the link up for the 15th up soon. I just need to work on the thumbnail and we'll get there. So, okay, so let me just start first with this, the OM3 with the 12 to 45 Pro here. This is still an amazing deal. I paid full price for mine, so about $300 more than this. But let me turn this off. Um, so and I couldn't be happier. I'm fine that I got because I've been using it for a year now, almost to the day, right? I bought mine officially in March, but OM Systems sent me sort of pre-release to test it out, which I really appreciate. And it didn't take long for me to make a decision on getting this camera. It's just an amazing camera, and I don't think it gets enough credit for how good this camera is, particularly the build quality and all the features it has. So if you get this camera, you will not regret it, in my opinion. Okay, so it comes with and without the lens. Body only is 1700. Still a great deal, great camera. So definitely check that out. And then also here I have the Hogue grip. Now I bought the one from Leo Photo, but this one is from Hogue, and it's about $20 less than the one I bought, and functionally it's the same thing. Has an Arco Swiss plate on the bottom, has a minimal grip on the side, so it doesn't stick out, and it doesn't really add any bulk to the camera, and it makes a big difference in the handling. That's all it needs is just a little bit of a grip, and I understand why they didn't include one like built into the camera by design, but uh, I always put full plate, base plates on my cameras, and if the camera doesn't have a grip or substantial grip, then just having a little bit extra is nice. So the full plate grips, they if you look here, there's a separate quarter 20 screw that takes the stress off the quarter 20 tripod mount on the camera itself, and it distributes the weight evenly along the bottom. So ultimately it's going to be more durable, particularly if you like to hang your camera off your, your like backpack straps and things like that. I don't do that, but this will definitely give your camera some more protection for things like that. So it's a great grip. 43 bucks. It doesn't go on sale very often. Uh, so I'll take $3, but it's worth every penny here. And let's see. This Interrail, this is a very stable tripod, 40 millimeter tube. So it's, it's quite a bit thicker than your standard tripods. So if you were looking for a very stable, you know, this thing holds what, 77 pounds or 35 kilos. You'll have to have your own ball head and all of that. But yeah, I know some people are looking for a very stable tripod, and this is a great deal. There's a 36 millimeter version here. It's a little bit less money. It's not on sale, but uh, you know, 30 kilo capacity instead. But either one of these are very, very stable. Okay, and then this tripod, I've been featuring this on and off for a couple of weeks now. It's been on sale a long time. $35.99. I have a variation of this tripod that I use, and it's great as a, your first tripod. It's very stable. It has a really good ball head. And in fact, I just used mine this morning to take some pictures of me and Ellie out on the snow, uh, doing selfies and things. So I'm very, very happy with this. It's very slim profile, so it packs easily into the side pocket of your backpack, or just sling it over your strap. It's a great little tripod for $36. You really can't ask for more. And I like keeping it as a backup. So this might stay in the trunk of my car permanently in case I forget to bring my good tripod, which is, a couple $100. But I'll show you the good tripods here in a moment if you want to step up your game. But this is a great entry level tripod. There you could do a lot worse for $36. Okay, and these are the core photographer accessories, right? Filters, tripods, and a bag, either a bag or a backpack. Every photographer needs to have these things. So that's why I try to find the best deals on these particular items. And then occasionally some other accessories that come in handy. Okay, so this one from Newer, this is a sort of a Peak Design, uh, Peak Design imitation, right? Very slim profile, kind of these non-circular tubes. They have these more rectangular tubes. Really, really good ball head on there. Very stable. Has pretty good capacity. They probably stayed it down here somewhere. 22-pound capacity. I'm sure the ball head will do more, but it's your standard ball head, all metal, and also the carbon fiber legs. But every piece in here, the flip locks and the metal, what do you call it? The collars around the legs and things, and the adjustments. These are all metal parts, so it's very, very well made. Like I said, I have a variation of this tripod, and it works great. This, let's see if they have my variation here. Mine is closer to something like this, the LT32. Yeah, I have this one. This is the one that I use. It's in my car right now. But this is an inverted ball head design. This is on sale as well. The key difference is mine has a regular Arca Swiss plate on the ball head. This one uses the Peak Design style, you know, the little square Arca Swiss plates. So if you're a Peak Design, if you're in that world, this tripod will be compatible with that. And the inverted ball head design is really great for doing single row panoramas. So that's why I carry this with me all the time. Um, but I'll show you my favorite tripod here. Let's see. Oh, this is exactly what I have, except it's rebranded under a different name. This one uses standard Arca Swiss plates. And this particular tripod, this is a good deal for what you're getting. It's not on sale. There's 5% off at checkout, so you'll save about another like $9. But this tripod is worth, you know, the $189. Again, very well made, lots of features, inverted ball head design for easy panoramas, and very, very compact. I mean, this thing compacts down, super lightweight, and more than enough holding power or capacity for, you know, even like if you're to mount your 300 f4 with your OM1, no problem at all. I don't typically mount, you know, that kind of lens on a tripod in general. I use this mostly with my 12 to 45 Pro and OM3, but this tripod. Everyone that sees me with this tripod, a lot of times they end up buying one for themselves. I know David bought one, and another guy in my photo club bought one shortly after seeing this, and a few others. Another lady bought one. So when they see this tripod in person, they always end up buying it. And I direct them to this particular one from GVM because it's the same one. It's just branded GVM, but it's an excellent tripod. So I can think of 4 other people off the top of my head that bought this tripod right after I got it. And because they really liked how small, compact, lightweight it is, yet very stable, and it has a pretty good height, 62 inches. So you know, there's plenty of flexibility there in terms of height. And like I said, it compacts down very, very small. The only thing this tripod does not have that some people like to get is it doesn't convert to a monopod. So I've kind of come to a place where I'd rather have a dedicated monopod with some more features than converting like a regular tripod into a monopod. So yeah, I can highly recommend this one, the GVM Trip 38. Excellent, excellent tripod, but you can save a little money with the newer brand. Again, it's the same tripod, this LT32 for 150 bucks. It's the same exact tripod except for the ball head. This ball head is Peak Design, square Arca Swiss plate only. And so what I was saying is this tripod, it doesn't collapse quite the same, right? It's not quite as compact because of the way the legs collapse, but it does convert to a monopod, the articulating head. And this is not a tripod you would try and raise the level a little bit. That might help a little bit there. One other place I can try. I can add a little gain. All right. Hopefully that that sounds a little better without clipping. All right, so the other thing is what I was saying is this is not a tripod. This normally isn't like your primary tripod. This is the kind of tripod you would probably be secondary. And so if you're looking for an articulating head kind of tripod, this makes a great secondary tripod. As a primary tripod, it works just as well, but it's a little bit bulky, and a little bit heavy. The way, because inherently you have the articulating head and everything. Everything has to be a little bit heavier duty. So there's more parts and pieces and all that. But it's very, very handy. Okay, and here's one from Coleman. Coleman is another really good brand. This tripod is quite a bit cheaper, right? But that's because if you look at the articulating head, it only goes 90 degrees from its original angle, right? Now it swings around 360, but so does the other one, right? So this one, uh, if you don't need the articulation to go further than this 90 degrees, then you can save some money and get this one. And it's a little bit more compact. You can see the legs fold down straight, right? So it's also a little bit more compact. And overall, it's going to be just a little bit lighter. I'm not going to split hairs between this one and the other one in terms of weight. But this is a great deal, and Coleman is a good brand. Okay. So those are the tripods, and what do I have next up here? Okay, so now Newer has been killing it lately with their flashes, meaning they're costing about a third to half as much as the Godox equivalent, and out of the box they work just as well as the Godox flashes. Some even have some compatibility with the Godox triggers. I'm not 100% sure that this one does, so don't buy it based on that. But this is a flash that if I recall, Marcus Pix reviewed this flash and he really liked it. So because it's relatively portable, has a very high output, and the app control works well, because I had a Newer flash for a little while, but I sold it to a friend of mine because it was a Canon version. So I don't shoot Canon that much, so I sold it to her. But Newer's killing it. And if you want to expand into the rest of the Newer flash system, like I said, you'll save about 30% on average over Godox. And out of the box, they are generally, work just as well. Now, long-term reliability, I haven't really heard any issues, but it hasn't been out that long, right? A couple of years maybe. But I really haven't heard any complaints about the Newer brand, in terms of their flashes. They've been working fine for the people that I know had them. Now, if you get into the Newer system, of course, you're going to want to buy their trigger, and that's why I have this up here. So you need to get this trigger. It's 5% off, maybe. I don't know, $65. This also, again, this is cheaper than the Godox trigger equivalent. And the trigger works well. I tested this trigger for a bit and didn't have any issues with it. So definitely, I really like the Newer products in terms of flashes. They just don't have quite as much variety, right? They have your standard round heads and the 200 watt, and they have a 400, or they have a 600 watt now. And so they're expanding, but it's not quite as diverse as the Godox system, right? Godox has a lot of stuff. But when we talk about just general flash photography, you don't need to get all fancy and get all niche, right? You just need maybe 3 lights. You get a 200 watt and a couple of round heads, or square heads, doesn't matter. But you get a couple of round heads. The round heads are about $100 a piece. So there's 200. Then you get the $200 200 watt bulb, and you got a full portrait set up right there, or at least the lighting side of it, right? So, and if you were to try to do that with new Godox, you're going to be spending about 200 bucks a head for the round heads, and then you're going to be spending $350 for the 200-watt one. So you're looking at $650, what, 2, 4 plus 3, $750 for 3 lights from Godox. And with Newer, you can do the same thing for about $400. So it's quite a bit of savings. Like I said, about a third to half, somewhere in that range, depending on the ones that you pick. And I think, I don't see any issues with it. Okay. So like I was saying, like if we look at the don't look at this one, you can get they have a standard, they have the fancy one here with the LCD, the OLED display. This one's 189, but this is equivalent to the Godox Pro version. The Godox Pro version, the non-pro version is already $200 right here. But I saw a round head for like 100 bucks from Newer, but it had the older LCD style. Like here's the 8200 Pro 2, it's 350, the 8200 is 300, and this newer one is on sale now for 200 bucks. So I'm a big fan of Flash and I'm a big fan of Godox, but Newer uh, is it looks just as well made and just the same light output. I don't see any issues with it. And the one that I tested worked great. Okay, another big thing on sale right now are all these wireless triggers. And the timing couldn't be better because I just lost my remote trigger remote. I don't know where it went. I was using it yesterday out in the snow, and when I came back in, I couldn't find it. It wasn't in my coat pockets, wasn't in my bag, wasn't anywhere sitting around on a table. And I went out this morning. Ellie will probably find it and chew it up. She'll probably find it outside. I probably dropped it somewhere outside. So she'll probably find it for me, but she likes to chew things when she finds it, right? Because if it's on the ground, it's hers, pretty much. I mean, she knows not to mess with my shoes and certain other things, but my camera gear, yeah, if I drop a lens cap or I've dropped hot shoes, the hot shoe covers, she finds those things and chews them up. Okay, let's move on. So here's one for Canon. This one it comes with a tripod. This is also for Canon. So make sure your camera's supported. I wish they would make one for the OM3. I've been shopping for that RM2, the wireless or the Bluetooth trigger that they have for the OM3. And I found one. They have it at District Camera, but it's 120 bucks. And really all you need is something like this, right? I might get one for my Canon. $16? I don't see any reason not to get that. They also have one here for Fuji, another one here for Nikon and Sony. So, very simple, straightforward, nice little LCD screen there to help you connect. So I'm going to add this. You can see I got a couple of things in my cart already. These are things that I buy when they go on sale. And I've bought this brand before. Hanpson and Adelin. Both these brands are fine when it comes to these remote triggers. I've been using these. Oh, I kind of like this smaller one. I don't know if this will work. This R3, R10. It'll probably work with the R8. But I'll have to double check. But I'm going to add this because I don't need that other one. Of course, this one's so small, I'll probably lose it too. I'll just stick with the bigger one. Yeah, I don't know what I gotta find my remote trigger. I had to use the phone app to remote take pictures this morning because I couldn't find my remote trigger. And the phone app is fine, but it's just kind of a lot of overhead just to take a picture, right? To open up the app, and I don't know. I just mentally I can't. I just feel like it's just a little bit too much overhead. Okay, so Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fujifilm. Various variations here with and without tripod, and also they're all 50% off. 15 bucks for a wireless trigger. $12 for this one, or $13, right? Can't beat that. So that's definitely on my short list. I just got to see which one I need to get for my Canon. I might get one for my Nikon too. Actually, this won't work on my Nikon. Never mind. My Nikon's too old. All right, filters. So the K&F stuff, 40% off this one. This is a great filter. True color, low reflectivity, 5-stop variable ND filter. And the 62 millimeter is perfect for a lot of the Micro Four Thirds lenses, right? Like the 12 to 40 Pro. And that, you know, the most common use for this is typically with flash, right? To allow you to open up your aperture a little bit in broad daylight, maybe use high-speed sync or not, maybe try to avoid high-speed sync. There's a lot of different reasons you use a variable ND filter with flash. People use variable ND filters a lot with video work. I'm not a video guy, so I can't really, you know, elaborate on that much, but I know videographers, they always get variable ND. And then for long exposure, now in broad daylight, 5 stops doesn't really cut it sometimes, but it might be just enough. If you can get 1 or 2 seconds of delay, like shutter speed, for fast moving water, like waterfalls and rapids, you can get a nice smooth water effect with a 5-stop ND filter. And this is one of the best. This is one of the best filters, in my opinion. And there's a 2 to 6 stop version here for a little bit more. But this also, let me see, I think this one is also a polarizer. So this one is a little bit more, but it combines, you can see it has 2 orange knobs here. This one combines polarization and ND, right? And it's a little fiddly at first, but once you get a feel for it, you'll be okay to use this. You just have to hold one of the tabs while you're moving the other one. I'm trying to remember. I haven't used this one in a while since my 12 to 40 Pro died on me. But you know, I think you dial in the polarization first, and then you dial in the ND effect if you want any, or vice versa. But once you get a feel for it, it's very easy to use. It's nice to have it all in one. And again, top quality filter. When I was using this, I had no issues with loss in image quality or detail. No problems with color shift, not in any major way. Every variable ND filter is going to have a slight color shift. Some more than others, but this one is very, very minimal, almost to the point you really don't need to worry about it. And then if you want to go with the Newer brand, again, Newer is just at 50, you know, a lot of these are 50% off now, and they're pretty equivalent to the K&F. K&F has a little bit bigger name, so there's a little bit of brand tax there. But with Newer, it's they always have the best deals, especially, you know, when they go on sale. And I've used and recommended Newer filters in the past, no issues at all. I tested Newer filters on a Canon R5 with the 45 megapixel sensor. Could not see any difference in image quality. And they have variations here, 55 millimeter, 67, 58 millimeter. This is a very good one for the 12 to 45. This also has a polarizer in it. So this one is less than half the cost, almost a third the cost of the K&F brand, and image quality is going to be virtually the same. You know, I got to give K&F the edge because, you know, you get what you pay for. But with this one, you know, for just using it occasionally, you know, this is more than good enough. And you know, I would only recommend the K&F if it's something you're going to rely on and you get paid money for and you use a lot. But if you just use a polarizer, ND filter time to time, this is the time to get one. Definitely time to get one at these prices. So it's been a while since filters have been on sale. I mean, it's been probably 2, 3 months. So I would jump on these while you can. Here's a whole solid ND filter kit. Now with solid NDs, you virtually don't have to worry about color shift or weird X pattern like vignetting and stuff. And it comes with the case. I mean, the case alone is like $16, okay? But I'm exaggerating a little, but this is a tremendous deal. I love solid ND filters because they're very, very consistent. You just put them on, you dial in what you need, and and on your camera, and you can stay very consistent. This also includes a nice ND1000 filter, which is great for really long exposures, and you can stack these filters on top of each other. So I don't know what that adds up to, but you can get very, very long exposures in the daytime. Now just keep in mind, when you start stacking things, you have to be careful of points of light because they can start reflecting off each other inside. The reflections can be distractions. Some people like them for creative effects. But I did notice that if I had a point of light coming directly, like the sun, coming directly through the front of the lens, I did notice some reflections. Sometimes some days are worse than others. You know, if it's a little cloudy out, it's not a big deal. But you know, if there's not a cloud in the sky and you got this bright sun coming straight in, you can get some flaring. But the idea being is you can stack all of these if you want to. And $16, can't complain. You know, I wouldn't stack more than 2 at a time, like maybe an ND1000 and an ND64 together. That would be the only combination you really need to do. But still, you have to watch for reflections. And that's just a killer deal. $16 for 4 filters and a case. You can throw away this lens pen. You know, that's just junk. I mean, the brush is useful, but it's not much use overall as a tool. Okay, here's a 49 millimeter just variable ND filter. If you just want to buy it by itself, you can save about $10 instead of buying a whole kit. And it's kind of an odd size. 49 millimeters I don't see as often. My Pentax uses 49 millimeters, some of my Pentax lenses, so that might be good, but so Juan says glue it on or what? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay, and then there's a couple of batteries. This battery charger is really interesting. For 10 bucks, it'll charge 2 or 3 different kinds of battery. The FC1000, which is the biggest one from Sony, the FW50, which is a little more common on the older cameras and the APS-Cs, and then the BX1, which I think is probably their, you know, RX100, you know, all these little small cameras, right? But yeah, this is pretty nice. So if you're a Sony shooter and you got multiple Sony cameras, and a lot of Sony shooters do have multiple cameras, you can have one charger that does it all, 2 at a time. I mean, that's cheap for a dual charger to begin with, but a dual charger that can charge multiple different styles of battery, that's hard to beat. And then I use these all the time, mostly in my radio triggers and remotes. Double A standard, I use them in my flashlights, things like that. These are great. You can even use them in flashes that take 4 AA batteries or 2 AA batteries. They provide the true 1.5 volt output. The only caveat to this style battery when you use them in flash is the recycle time's not quite as fast as, say, the envelopes, or just using alkalines, or using non-rechargeable lithiums. Uh, those have much better recycle times than these, but these last a long time. They last longer than any of those other alternatives. And how often do you need to shoot at full power and need recycle time constantly, right? Maybe you do. Then, I would maybe skip these, but and get a dedicated lithium ion flash. But yeah, 16.99, that's a good deal. I have a different brand of these, but they're all the same. Okay, and then one last one here is, I think this is the Canon. This is for the larger Canon cameras, that have the bigger battery. But it's a very common battery for Canon. And, charge 3 at a time. And you probably need to charge 3 at a time with generic batteries, because they don't last as long as the OEM. But if you got all OEM batteries, you can just use the charger and for those, and then use these generic batteries as backup, right? There's a couple of things I've noticed with generic batteries. Sometimes the camera will not show you how much power is left, and even if it did, it's not reliable with generic batteries. And the other thing is, some cameras will not let you charge the battery in the camera, via the USB-C port with generic. I don't recommend you do that anyway, but I did notice that you can't charge sometimes generic batteries in camera. So there's a couple of caveats to generic batteries. But if you're just out shooting in the field and your main battery starts to get low or dies, you can pop one of these in and keep going for another couple hours and you're good. All right, so I've talked about these backpacks last week. These are all very interesting design. I really like this design. If I didn't already have, backpacks and bags, up to filled the closet full, I would get one of these. I really like this design. And we have 3 variations here at different price points. This one here is the original Wandered. This is a imitation from Bezin Photo. And then K&F now has one as well, with the little roll top. But this one is on sale. There's a coupon here, so it's $70. So another $20 off. But it's got the roll top design, and that's pretty handy. A friend of mine has one of these, and I was surprised. I was packing up all her stuff, and I was surprised how much this bag holds. Especially with the roll top on top, I could just quickly throw things in and get moving without taking the time to sort and stuff things the right way. You can, like I was dropping in flash mounts and brackets, like the S2 brackets and the 8200, just throwing them in the top there. So it made for very quick work of getting in and out of a place. And, I think the idea here is you're supposed to pack your lunch or clothes or a jacket or something in there. But the idea being it's separate from the camera compartment. So if you did put drinks and food in there, it should not spill down into the rest of your camera gear because it is a separate compartment. So there's 3 price points, right? 175. This is going to be the very best, of course. OEM, Wandered. This looks like a really good imitation as well as this, but this one's on sale for another $20 off. This one's on sale for $10 off. And then one of my favorite bags here is the S Zone. This is basically the same bag that I got from K&F. And this is a great little bag, holds a lot of stuff. I can fit my 12 to 45, my OM3, and my Godox V480, and like my 25 1.4, like couple lenses, the camera, and a flash. Or I can do the camera and 3 lenses. No problem at all, with room left over for straps and triggers and, memory cards, batteries, whatever. And partially that's partially due to the way they designed this. Now it looks like you can only hold 3 things, but what I do is I use like little can coolers or microfiber cloth and wrap lenses, because our Micro Four Thirds stuff is so small. And I'll wrap it up in a microfiber cloth and drop that in on top of, say, I'll bring like the 45 and the 25 and stack them together in one of these sides. So there's 2 lenses. Put the OM3 in the middle, and then over here, you put your Godox V480. No problem at all. And it doesn't take up a lot of room. The measurements here, it's only, what, like 12 by 4 by 7, 7.5. It's, it's a relatively compact setup, but it packs a lot of stuff. And it has plenty of little pockets. Now, you can't stuff very thick items in there. You can put maybe a battery in the side pockets and things. But it's great for bringing your permits and parking passes and whatever else you bring paper-wise. You can stuff those in there. A little strap here for travel. The strap is very durable. And there are tripod straps on the bottom, which I wouldn't put any big tripods on. Just a lightweight tripod will be fine. But I do find that if I leave it on the bag and I'm walking a lot, it can come loose. So I found myself tightening those straps all the time. So I don't really use those. I was debating about cutting them off. I've cut off tripod straps like this on messenger bags because they're not very useful. Because they do come loose, because they don't have a locking mechanism on the strap. They have the buckles here, as you can see, but the strap needs a separate locking mechanism, and these don't have that. So as you're walking around, the strap can come a little loose. So just forget about the tripod straps on this bag, but everything else is 100%. The vinyl here is pretty durable. If you look closely, at this design, it's hard to see. But all the stitching on the bag was done inside. So they stitched this thing, then folded it back in, however they do the manufacturing. So other than the handle, all of the stitching is inside the bag. So it's going to be pretty rugged, or more, it's going to last longer because the stitching is not going to get worn out. So good little bag for $16. This is the best deal I've seen. That's about half what you'd pay for a K&F version. So if we go to K&F, it'll probably pop up down here. Here's the K&F bag. It's the same bag, right? But this one's $33. So for half the price, you can get this one from HESZone, and you got just as good a bag. And I love this divider system, being able to fold down one side. I can carry a little longer lens or whatever. It's very versatile. Okay, and then a few other choices there. If you don't like the HESZone bag, there's some other affordable choices here. I like this one for $14. It's a little bigger, slightly more square, right? So it's going to have a little more rigidity, give your gear a little more protection than the HESZone. And it'll maybe hold slightly more. I mean, it's not going to hold a whole extra lens, but you know how it is. If you got thick straps or you want to throw your mini tripod in there or something, it'll hold a little bit more than the HESZone, and it costs less. The only catch is it's in this khaki color, which I don't mind. I kind of like this color. If I had a choice, though, I'd probably buy this green one, but the green one is $23. So if you don't care about the color, or you'd like this color, This is a great deal. It's a great deal. Um, and then the infamous, I talked about this last week, I think. You can see I bought my bag. 2014, this is one of the first bags. I talked about this last week. I won't say much more than this is a very popular bag. It's very durable. I have no complaints about this bag. Uh, the reason I don't use it much anymore is because it's a little bit thicker. It's not quite as slim profile as my other bags. And I just like a slimmer profile bag that's a little bit taller. But this holds quite a bit of stuff. I can throw my OM3 in there, 3 lenses and a flash, right? And I got pockets on the front and the side to throw radio triggers. I can even fit in the front pocket. I've done it many times. I can fit the Godox TT350 right there in the front pocket. And then there's a pocket up in the top, like a mesh pocket. It's hard to see in this picture. But there's a mesh pocket on top where I throw, various cables and batteries and things. So this is good stuff. It's a great bag, very popular. And oddly, I don't know why, but if you buy even the generic bag, this is a carbon copy of it, it's $40. And Amazon, the Amazon large bag, if you just try to shop for it like this, there's the one I have on my deal page, but this is the same exact bag. The only difference is this has a gray interior. But it's $29 instead of what's the one I have? $23. So unless you really want to have gray, why spend the extra $6 or $7? Just get this one. And all of this stuff I talked about last week. These lenses are still on sale. This memory card, unavailable. We may never see this again. I should have bought another one. This was a really good deal. It was $36 for 256 V60. I bought it back on January. I should have bought one more. That's so cheap. Okay, so that about covers everything I wanted to cover. I'll just mention this real quick. Battery holder. It's important to keep your batteries separate. They're fire risk. There's another bag there. Station PC. These are all interesting devices. This is a good deal on a 28 to 75 2.8 for Sony. It's made by Tamron. That's an excellent deal. And then some various macro and flash stuff down here and some more lenses. So lots of good stuff on this page. But I just wanted to kind of deep dive a little bit into some specific things. The filters, the tripods, and a couple of the bags, all on really good deals, really good sale. And I highly recommend all of those things. So if you have any questions or want to talk about anything, you can leave it in the chat section. I see one here from the great Vanzini, who makes a good third-party strap. It's kind of random, but believe it or not, K&F makes a really good strap. It depends how big you want though, right? Let me show you the one that I bought. K&F makes really good straps. And they're very reasonably priced. There's some on sale here even. This is the one that I bought. But yeah, I need to get an idea of how big a strap you need. Like, what are you going to carry on it? But let me show you my strap. So this is like the standard camera strap that you get like with your camera in a bag. When you buy your camera, they give you this. So just to give you an idea of the width. So this one is just a little bit thinner, right? Very, very smooth, not like like the seatbelt in your car. Really nice stitching here. You have a metal buckle here. This is aluminum with some double stitching in here. So it's kind of stylish a little bit, right? And then you have another metal buckle here, and then the plastic buckle here is double locked. So it's very, very secure. So let me explain that. This is the strap that I use on my Pentax monochrome, because this is kind of a monochrome strap, right? And the cord here is very, very strong. So if you look closely, actually it's on this side. Let me see if I can get it to focus. So you have your normal pinch lock right here, but you also have a push lock right here. So when I put this in, let me get it to focus again. If I pinch this, it doesn't come out. Even though these are released, I have to push this additional to get this out. Now I'm making it look harder than it is, okay? But I've had times where I accidentally bumped one side of like just a regular one that has pinch only, and then I was at risk of dropping the camera right off my neck. But with this one, the risk is minimized quite a bit. Now, of course, you know, all of this can fail because it's all plastic, but this really minimizes as much as, you know, possible. So I love this strap. I love this strap. The only reason I don't buy it for all of my cameras is because it is a little bit heavy duty, right? So when you wrap it up and put it into your bag, you need to make room for the strap, right? Anyway, you can see you have to make room, you know, you have to make room for the strap, right? It's not a big deal, but I'm just saying. That's why I don't use this for all my cameras. One that I got for my OM3 is much thinner. Just let me put these side by side. So I'm just gonna talk about some features of straps, and then we'll look at some deals on them, okay? But this one is a bit smaller, right? You can see it's smaller and it's thinner. It's not as thick. And it's, you know, it's fully adjustable. But these have the simple pinch buckles, right? Luckily, I've never had a problem, but it's not as secure as the K&F one. But what I like about this is that, you know, when I put this in my bag, the strap wraps up very nice and small. You can see it's quite a bit smaller, quite a bit less surface area to have to pack into my bag. And that has some other features, so you can convert it into a wrist strap. It's kind of ridiculous. But I paid $7 for that one, and this one I paid $25 for this one. And it's on sale now for it's not even on sale, it's just been priced. So 32 millimeters, that's the one that I have, 32 millimeter width. And they have it in various colors, black, I guess that's blue, and then green. I got the silver for my monochrome camera. And I can recommend this strap. All right, so if we just type in camera strap, and then just click on, let's do all discounts, and then sort low to high. You know, all of these. Oh, let's look at this one. So this one's very similar to the one I just showed you. But these buckles are really cheap. I wouldn't recommend this for a heavier camera. Like the OM3, I wouldn't use it on my OM3 even. This is more like for like your little LX100s, your compact cameras, right? Anybody that puts this size strap with this size buckle on a Leica is an idiot. Okay. Let's see. This one's for, yeah, these buckles are very, very cheap. This is gonna fail. Yeah, don't buy these $5 ones. These buckles are really cheap plastic. I have a whole drawer full of these, and one of the buckles just snapped on me because there's such a thin plastic. It snapped on me and my camera dropped. So I don't recommend these. The buckle is so cheap. Now some brands, oops. Let me just find one other buckle. You know, the higher end ones, like this Peak Design, you know, these are all going to be top quality. You don't need to worry about these if you buy them. Here's some generics. I'm not sure I like this buckle design, but I haven't tried these personally. These look okay. Now this one has an interesting feature on it. I can't get it to zoom in. Let's see if they have a, right here, it looks like it has a locking strap so that once you adjust the strap, it's not going to stretch or change, right? So this is an interesting, you know, this is pretty useful in that sense for tripods. For a camera strap, unless you're carrying a really heavy camera, I don't see any need to have a locking buckle on a camera strap. But this one has one. But I don't have a lot of confidence in this buckle down here. It looks okay, but oh, I keep going back to the stream. But yeah, we could look at straps all day long. I'm just telling you, just like I bought here, it even shows I bought this one, 2024. I'm not using any of them anymore because the buckle is so cheap, the plastic. I might use this on a tiny camera, like a little point and shoot or something. But other than that, yeah, this is really cheap stuff. And that's why I bought it, because I'm just such a you know, I'm so frugal sometimes. A little bit too frugal, but you know, you can learn from my mistakes, right? Uh okay. Another thing that is very tempting is like these Black Rapid imitations. These you have to be really careful again because these buckles here are relatively cheap and thin. But let's say they have a decent buckle, plastic buckle here. I wouldn't trust it, but let's say they're good. The other problem is the little hook loop, the metal ring down at the bottom. these break all the time. Uh, so unless you're on a really, really tight budget, I wouldn't get one of these. And if you do get one of these, make sure it has a safety tether. Uh, yeah, this one has the safety tether here. That way, if the little key ring, the hook loop thing breaks, your camera's not going to drop to the ground because the safety tether will catch it. And then this clamping device mounts to your camera. This is okay. It's pretty secure, but overall it's not the same as a Black Rapid. The problem is Black Rapid is like they're 90 bucks. I did it again. So I bought these cheap ones and they've held up, but one of them did not. One of them broke on me. But the other two that I have are still fine, but I'm always using the safety tether. This is another one I bought. This is something you need to look out for. I bought this a year ago, right? Um, I kind of, after buying those cheap plastic things, I said, okay, I'm just going to get a good strap that's cheap, but it's made of metal. So this has metal buckles here. And I was like, okay, these are not going to break, right? And they haven't. But the problem is they scratch up your camera because the metal is like if you're not using the strap or even when you're using the strap, the metal buckles are clanging on my camera, making all kinds of noise and scratching it up. So I was like, oh crap. So now I got another strap here I'm never going to use. I might use it for, I don't know, I might find a use for it later, but I'm not using these on my camera because it's just metal banging up against your camera. I should have thought of that, but it was probably at such a cheap price that I just said, let me try it, you know? Okay, anyway, that's all I know about camera straps. So uh, I recommend the K&F one, long story short. If I come across any good deals on camera straps, I'll put them on my deal page that I think are pretty decent. Because I know which ones are not. And I can just look at the picture and tell you it's not good. This K&F, this is one of the spongy kinds, right? I don't care for these neoprene type straps. These have these have terrible buckles, terrible buckle. This is I'm not oh Peak Design. Okay, so Peak Design, you don't have to worry. Peak Design and Rapid Strap, these are two brands that if you buy them, you're going to be, that's a strap you use for life, right? You buy it once and you never need another one. Just make sure you get the right width. Peak Design has some skinnier ones that I prefer. If I were to buy Peak Design, I'd rather just buy the K&F. I'm very happy with that. Okay, yeah, about that wide. Anything wider in yeah. And although I have one of the stretchy rope type, not bad, but things do tend to bounce a bit. Yeah. Yep. I don't like the rope style personally. And I have the Black Rapid that is about 12 years old, still holding together well. I only use it with my 70 to 200 or bigger lenses. Wrist straps are king. Yep. I'm not a wrist strap guy, but you know, uh, because I always got my messenger bag and my camera. So I got two straps over my shoulders. And I'm always going into my bag for stuff, right? So if I had my camera on my wrist, that'd just be awkward. And another, Paul also likes the wrist straps. Okay. Yeah, I'm just not a wrist strap. If I was like a street shooter with with like XV100 or just a camera and one lens and I didn't use anything else, maybe a wrist strap would work. I tried a wrist strap for a little while. I bought a nice Peak Design wrist strap back when I was shooting Nikon. Uh, and I liked it for a little while, but then I never used it again. So everybody's a little bit different, right? Okay, let's go over to B&H real quick. I have a B&H affiliate link down below, not to the specific products, but just to their website in general. So if you use that link and buy something, I should get credit. Um, yeah, I don't see. There was something on B&H that I wanted to show you. I don't know what happened to it. 1 second. Oh, yeah, I think. Yeah, the Nikon cameras are really a good deal right now. So what I'm looking at is there was two cameras, Nikon Z8. It's still on sale from the holidays for 3,500 bucks. You can get the bundle here where you get this little bag and an SD card together with it. But so you might as well get that rather than just buying the camera bare. And then here's one FTZ. Anyway, yeah, 800 bucks off. This is still tempting me. I'm sorry, 1 second. I gotta answer the phone. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to delete that out of the stream later. I just realized I was sharing my screen. Uh, so yeah, but the Nikon ZF, this one, 300 bucks off. This is really tempting too, and now it's in silver. So I feel like if you were thinking about the Nikon ZF, now's a good time to get one brand new. Used, I see them for about 15 or 1600, but why buy a used one when you can get a brand new one for just a little more? So yeah, so check out my B&H link and check out the Nikon Z8 and ZF. These are at a really good deal now for brand new with warranty from B&H, and you know it's going to be authentic, right? Okay. And yeah, Henning, thank you. I saw that. I didn't mean to share that screen. My mom calls me randomly 2, 3 times a day with different things, right? Usually it's about all these emails she gets trying to sell her something. But uh, they use these scare tactics, right, to get you to open the email, and a lot of times it's a scam, right? But yeah, I gotta tell her not to worry. I check her email every day. But she calls me and says, what about this? I'm like, Mom, it's a scam. I'm gonna delete it. Okay, anyway. With the 150 to 600, I need to figure out strap situation currently with PGY Tech. Oh, yeah. I remember that strap. That's a decent strap, but it's probably not long enough. You know, it's going to be awkward. What you really need is a black rapid strap. That's what I would use with the 150 to 600 if you want to hand hold your camera and carry it with you that way. Uh, the black rapid strap is the way to go. Because you would mount the, you know, it comes with a little key that you screw into the bottom of the shoe, and then you use the hook loop from the black rapid to lock into that. I'm sure you've seen that before. I think. So there's this one, right? So I would never mount this directly to my camera like they show in the picture here, but I would mount this to the shoe of the you know, the collar for the lens. We'll have a 1/4 20 screw. And this is the way to go. And you know, they use, I'm sure, stainless steel for the buckle here, so it's not going to break. But yeah, 130 bucks, right? It's not cheap. But for that lens, this is the only way, to carry it if you want to carry it around your shoulder. This is the only way to do it. But yeah, David's here. David will tell you. Just, you know, he carries his around on his monopod because it's not easy to carry on your shoulder for any length of time, because that's like a 5 or 6 pound lens, isn't it? And then, you know, you throw in another couple pounds for your camera and strap. Uh, it can get tiring. So monopod's the way to go. So it's always worth looking at the 1-star reviews. Yes. The trick is that even like, let me look at the 1-star reviews for the Black Rapid. There's none. A lot of times the 1-star reviews are like they never shipped it, or they shipped a, you know, a broken one. It's not because the product was bad, like if they got a new one to begin with. Uh, but it's usually shipping errors. And they get 1 star, like never received it, or it arrived late, or it arrived and it was used, right? They sent them a used product. Things like that. But time to time, there'll be a 1-star review that's long term, right? Somebody used it for a year, and then they'll come back and they'll leave a review and say, you know, 1 star because this, that, and the other thing failed. I think SD cards are a really good example. So here's a SanDisk, right? 4.8 stars, 82,000 reviews, 2% 1 star. So what I look at is I like it to be like 90% or better here in the 5 and 4 star. A lot of people give 4-star reviews because it was late. It took a long time to deliver. But if you look at the 1-star reviews, right? 2 bad cards in a row, terrible, don't buy, don't buy, don't buy. You know what I mean? Even the top brands have problems. Then if we look at like this generic one, right, Gigastone, it has almost as good a review, right? Same percentage here, give or take, you know, 90+%. Then you look at the 1%, bad quality, useless, you know, compatible, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of the same kind of 1-star stuff. So you have to kind of weed through the 1 and 2-star reviews to find ones that are kind of relevant and and seem legit, right? Like somebody bought it a year ago. And now they've had this product for a while, and they can report on their experience a little better. But I try to be weary of one-star reviews that are just really bad. Like they bought the card and it didn't work. I mean, I don't know. A lot of times people buy the wrong thing for whatever it is, and it doesn't work, and they blame the product, and it's really their fault for not doing their due diligence. Yep. And Ethan's here. Hey, Ethan. Sorry I'm late. I'll go back and review later. I'm live now. Thanks for all you do. Oh, thank you, Ethan. I appreciate that. And have you tried the Raynox 202 or 505 with the 60 macro and extension tubes before? No. I have a generic Raynox type thing that when I use it with my 60 macro, I get about a 1.5x magnification. And then if I add extension tubes, I can get about 2x magnification with extension tubes and my diopter. But I've never tried the Raynox. Yeah, I haven't tried the Raynox because they cost 2, 3 times as much. They're like $70, $80, right? And I paid like $35 for my diopter. I feel like if I really want that kind of magnification, I might just save up for 90 macro and just go that way. And just use the 60 macro time to time with the diopter. But I feel like I'm just making things too hard sometimes by finagling with extension tubes and diopters and then trying to work with the focus. It's a little bit tricky because then also the IBIS is off because you've changed the optics of the lens, so the IBIS doesn't work quite as well. It's all kinds of issues, right? When doing it that way. Not that you can't get great results. I know you do it all the time, but I think maybe leaning into like a 90 macro might be the way to go. Yeah, 175 is twice as powerful as the Raynox 250. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, if I get a 90 macro, I might get a Raynox, like instead of the generic one that I bought. The generic one is fine. I didn't see any issues with image quality, but it only works out to about 1.5x on my 60 macro instead of 1-to-1. All right. I don't see anything else. I know you just got here, Ethan, but uh, I might call it here because I need to deal with that other issue. And don't use the Raynox with the 90. It doesn't work. Oh, that's interesting. So I'd have to use the teleconverter then, like 1.4x teleconverter. Maybe the 2x, but I don't have a 2x. I have a 1.4. So those are the deals today. And again, your support's greatly appreciated. If you use those affiliate links down below, and hopefully there was something there that you found interesting or useful. A lot of the filters and other things today are the kind of things that you wait for them to go on sale before you buy them. But when they're on sale like this, it's a good time to get them, even though you may not need it right away. And if there's other things you are looking for to be on sale, you know, and you can wait, like that's what I found. These things kind of go in rotation, right? Like the lens filters, different sizes go on sale at different times. There was a while there where nothing was on sale as far as lens filters go, but today, at least there was a good variety of filters on sale. And one of my favorite bags went on sale, and there's some good tripods there. They're not at particularly good deals, but they're a good deal even at the regular price for what you're getting. So getting a little discount off of that, it's a good time to get a tripod because these are the kind of things you use a long time, right? And saving another $5 or $10 long term is not a big deal. Short term, filters, remote triggers, things like that. Yeah, you use those once in a while. Uh, Might as well get them on sale, right? So, all right, guys, thanks so much for joining me. And you guys have a great rest of your day, a good week, a good life. Eat healthy, exercise. Be sure to join me Friday for our photo editing stream, and then Sunday for the 8th annual Micro Four Thirds meetup. I have a great lineup set up. The link is up there if you want to see who's coming. And I'll have the second meetup set up here shortly. So thanks again for joining me today.